Hi everyone! Today I decided to make a short video about so-called green nuclear energy, or why you do not want to live closer than 300 miles to any nuclear power plant. Before making this video, I analyzed a lot of information about nuclear power, power plant designs, nuclear accidents and consequences, and I came to a conclusion that nuclear energy is the worst invention of all ages. Just think about it for a moment. It's dangerous, right? It regularly pollutes the environment, and it produces a lot of nuclear waste, which is hard to recycle and store. But the paradox is, nuclear energy is extremely profitable. I would say it's so profitable that even the global narco mafia, in comparison to nuclear power business, sounds like a joke, and that's a fact. And this is probably the reason why governments and energy companies spend billions of dollars advocating nuclear developments and advertising nuclear power as a safe, green, and reliable source of energy. Listen to what the New York Times says about it. The reason industry representatives and critics agree is that the existing plants remain very profitable, even with the decline in electricity prices that followed the market crash and recession in 2008. The Nuclear Energy Institute, the industry's main trade organization, ranks current nuclear plants as the cheapest source of US electricity, with operating, maintenance and fuel costs of just over 2 cents per kilowatt hour in 2009, compared to 5 cents for electricity from natural gas-fired plants and 3 cents for coal generation. Exelon said its generating plants returned average margins of 3.76% per kilowatt hour last year, despite lower power prices, and 2/3 of Exelon's overall generation capacity comes from the nuclear plants. These nuclear plants, which are fully depreciated, were purchased at a discount and are in fact cash cows, said industry critic Mark Cooper, a senior fellow at Vermont Law School's Institute for Energy and Development. That's what New York Times said. Meanwhile, serious nuclear accidents with wide consequences happen around the globe on a regular basis, and people are worried about them. Even those who believe that nuclear energy is good for people deep inside are scared by the beast. In this video, I'll try to shed some light on the subject so you would understand all the dangers instead of just blindly believe those sweet lies told by the politicians and energy companies on the TV. You should know that any nuclear power plant is a dirty bomb by design. It uses the same principle to generate vast amounts of energy as an atomic bomb to wipe out all living beings from the Mother Earth, called chain reaction or nuclear fission, with only one difference. In a reactor, the nuclear reaction is slowed down by the control rods, which allow a nuclear power plant to release energy over a long period of time, as opposed to atomic bomb releasing energy at a single blast. But this mechanism doesn't make a nuke any safer. The control rods may fail, and they did fail in case of Chernobyl, causing the entire reactor to explode like a bomb. Here I have a picture of Chernobyl nuclear power plant, the Unit 4, which exploded, and you see how great the devastation is. And people who lived nearby, who saw the explosion, describe it as a mushroom cloud, which you can actually see when an atomic bomb goes off. Another thing to worry about is water cooling. All nuclear reactors working today use water to transfer energy from the fuel rods to the turbines which generate electricity. And the water in the reactor is a problem. In fact, a big problem. You know that water consists of hydrogen and oxygen. And if hydrogen, if mixed with oxygen, is highly explosive. In the nature, water is pretty stable. It doesn't explode by itself. But under extreme environment of fission process, under extreme temperatures, water turns into a mix of hydrogen and oxygen, which is highly combustible. The explosions you saw in Fukushima were hydrogen explosions caused by water. Engineers who develop nuclear power plants know that. And they know how unstable and dangerous they are. This is the reason why they create multiple safety systems that, in case of an emergency, engage one after another to calm the beast down, to prevent a nuclear explosion. But no matter how many safety systems are used and how great they are, they may fail all at the same time. And Fukushima is a good example of that. In Fukushima, all the safety systems failed one after another, which caused multiple hydrogen explosions in several reactors. Since water and fission are not compatible, engineers have developed alternative, water-free designs. They call it nuclear reactors of fourth generation. Among them, they feature sodium-cooled, lead-cooled, gas-cooled, and molten salt reactors. Some of them, of course, much safer than today's water-cooled reactors, but others, totally a bad idea. For instance, sodium-cooled reactor. Sodium is highly volatile, and if mixed with water, produces heat and hydrogen, and usually self-ignites, and even explodes. Go to YouTube and watch those videos how sodium ignites and explodes in the water. It's pretty impressive. Since a sodium-cooled reactor transfers heat from the fuel rods to the turbines through two loops, the first loop is a sodium loop, which cools the reactor core, and the second loop is the water loop that drives turbines to generate electricity. And energy between those two loops are transferred through a heat exchanger, which is of course a problem. That's the place where potentially sodium can mix with water and cause hydrogen explosion. If a hydrogen explosion happens in this kind of design, the first loop, the sodium loop, will be totally destroyed, and the core will be overheated and it will melt down. The conclusion here is, you simply cannot develop a 100% safe reactor because the underlying fundamentals are too dangerous. I'm not arguing that relatively safe designs implementing passive safety can be developed. Those reactors would remain stable even if all the safety systems fail. But who wants to invest billions of dollars into safe designs when the old rusty power plants keep generating zillions of dollars in profits? Exactly no one. Because it's business and it's all about money. Look at the small guys to find the analogy. Notice those rusty falling apart trucks that come to your backyard to cut the grass on your lawn or remove the snow from your driveway in the winter. Why would they invest money into the new trucks when the old junk still works? They will use those rusty falling apart trucks until they totally disintegrate. And it's the same story with our nukes. Although they were built 40 years ago, only a few of them were decommissioned. They are old, rusty, but they still work and generate profits. Here I have a map of United States where all the nuclear reactors are shown. The blue triangles are the reactors which are 40 years old. And as you can see, almost 70% of all nuclear reactors are 40 years old. Those old reactors, and by the way the new ones, regularly release radiation into the environment and periodically experience near-accident events. Just think about it, about the near-accident events. Near-accident event means that a nuclear reactor almost went out of control and it's almost hit a point when a meltdown becomes possible. If meltdowns happens, vast amounts of radiation are released into the atmosphere. The number of nukes around the globe increase every year. And with time, the number of nuclear incidents will only increase. Just think about it. What's gonna happen in the next century when the number of nuclear reactors 5 times more than today? They will constantly release way more radiation into the environment. And if 10 more accidents like Chernobyl or Fukushima happens, it's gonna be devastating for us. Thank you for listening.